And so I'd invite you this morning to flip over to John chapter 11. We're going to continue conversations with Jesus. And this one in particular, I've been actually settling in these verses. We're looking at like verses 17 and 18, almost to the end. But I've been settling in this for probably 2 months and enjoying it immensely, experiencing Jesus in ways that I'm like, wow, that's astounding. And I think one of the key things that I see that I think is so relevant for all of us watching online here in the room is the idea that Jesus has the potential to disappoint. Now, I get it. You're like, you shouldn't be saying that, right? Because you're supposed to encourage our faith and not discourage our faith. And I get it. I understand exactly what I'm supposed to do. On the other side, I also know in reality that there are times and experiences and occasions where I have been disappointed in Jesus. Does anybody in the room relate to any of that? Jesus didn't answer a prayer the way you wanted. Instead of yes, he said no. Maybe you didn't, there's something happened that you prayed against. Seriously. And so what happens? What's the conversation like with Jesus when we're disappointed in him? And if you haven't been disappointed in him, then save this for somebody who has. Or maybe put it on the back burner just in case down the road it might happen. What do we do with that? What do we do when Jesus disappoints us? And I know we sing songs and we preach faith and all that, and I'm 100% for it. But in the meantime, there are seasons, experiences when Jesus didn't do what we wanted. He didn't meet our expectations. Have you ever had a performance review where somebody said didn't meet expectations? Or you did a survey, didn't meet expectations? And so what happens when Jesus doesn't meet our expectations? And that's exactly what happens in John chapter 11. How do you have a conversation with Jesus? What does that look like? Authentic conversation when Jesus doesn't meet your expectations. So in John chapter 11, at the very beginning of the chapter, you read, this is Martha and Mary, and they send a message to Jesus because he's somewhere in some remote village. And they tell him, the one you love, this is their brother Lazarus, the one you love is sick. And so the implication is, can you hustle your rustle and come over here and heal our brother? Like, get over here quick because he's sick. But Jesus doesn't hustle his rustle, and he stays where he is. And he has an interesting conversation after some days. He tells his disciples who are with him, he says, hey, we're going to go see Lazarus because he's sleeping, and we know that he's been sick. And the disciples say to him, well, if he's sleeping, he's going to get better. And Jesus says, well, actually, he died. And then Thomas says this weird thing, well, let's go and die with him. And I'm like, what are you smoking? That's like crazy talk. But so it's a little bit weird, and I like that it's a little bit weird because Thomas has been with Jesus for like probably 2 years by this point. So he says some stupid, crazy things, and for some of us who have followed Jesus for a little while, sometimes we say stupid, crazy things too, right? So it's nice to have a fellow compatriot that makes it in the Bible that says stupid stuff as well. Nevertheless, little rabbit trail. But Jesus shows up in Bethany. That's where Lazarus, Martha, Mary live. Jesus shows up, and in verse 17 you read that Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. Well, that's disappointing. Jesus has not met their expectations, clearly. Now, spoiler alert, a lot of us know Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. Spoiler alert. But I don't want us to miss the reality of the experience and the conversations that happen between Martha and Jesus, Mary and Jesus, including some of the Jews and Jesus, so that we can participate and we understand and recognize that Jesus can have authentic, real conversations in the midst of us being disappointed with him. I think that's super important.